I'm Jamie Bass, the Dueling Professor. I'm coming at you today to talk to you about habits and routines that you can establish to help you have a really strong, successful semester. So you have to start the semester with this idea that you're in control. You're in the driver's seat. You're the one that can choose what you do on a daily basis to move you towards your goals. The habits that you start with on day one are going to be the habits that carry you through to the end of the semester. So it's really important to be intentional and think about the habits and routines that you have in your life that are going to either help your success or hinder your success. So these are some habits and routines that you should consider throughout the semester. Your study routine should be priority number one. How, when, and where are you going to study? You can't plan your semester haphazardly. You have to have a game plan. You have to go into this semester knowing exactly when, where, and how you are going to prepare for your exams and for your course. This should be built in as a routine from day one. The first week of class, maybe even the second week of class, might be a little easy. Maybe your instructor gives you review material that you're already familiar with, or maybe they're going slowly to introduce you into the course. You feel like you don't need a study group at the beginning of the class. But I tell you what, students that establish the study group routines at the beginning of the semester are students that stick with it and ones that are more successful in the end. Another helpful routine to get into is your diet and exercise routine. You guys have to take care of your bodies if you want your mind to perform. If you are wanting your brain to be at peak performance, you have to fuel it properly with water and good nutrition from vegetables and fruits. Students that show up to class with sugary beverages, sodas, and sweet treats are ones that are often falling asleep at the end of class. Sugar gives you a brief rush and then you crash afterwards. So go to class with water and maybe some sliced cucumbers or carrots or celery to help you stay awake. If not, the crunching alone will give you something to do. Another habit you should get into is waking up early. Did you know the first 2 hours of the day are your most productive hours of the day? It's true. Waking up earlier by an hour or two every day can make the difference between you getting all of your things done or you rewriting the same to-do list the next day. Students that go to bed early, wake up early, are ones that are more successful in the long run. I know, it's not cool to go to bed at 10 o'clock. I get it. I don't like going to bed at 10 o'clock either, but when it's 8 a.m. and I've already done all of the things I need to do for the day, it feels awesome. And then I have the whole day to do all of the other things that I want to do. There's a quote that says something like, going to college is like looking both ways before you cross the street and then getting struck by an airplane, right? You try to prepare and think ahead for all of the things, and then something comes out of left corner and hits you by surprise. That's life, right? So the best way to prepare is by waking up early and getting all the things done before life can get in the way of your studies. Another habit that will help you is a good sleep routine. I know this seems like I should not be telling you how to eat and sleep and when to wake up, but I'm telling you guys from experience, I see this every semester with my students. The ones that are staying up and cramming for their exams and bringing the sugary food to class, they are not doing well in my classes. And maybe you're the exception to that rule, but I highly doubt it. I wish I had some actual data. Like I wish I had actual numbers to show you what this looks like in actual statistical analysis. Maybe I should do that. Let's start narrowing our focus a little bit and start talking about routines and habits related to specific events throughout the semester. So you have your semester-long events, right? The drinking water, eating good fruits and vegetables, your sleep habits, right? You have your kind of study plan out when you study. But let's talk about habits before an exam, all right? So you get your syllabus and your schedule at the beginning of the semester. Looking at that schedule, one of the things that you should do first is put those test dates, those exam dates, into your calendar, your electronic calendar that's on your phone or your planner that you carry around with you so that you know when it's coming and you're not surprised by it. One of the most annoying things as an instructor is when students say, when is the next exam? It's right there. I told you on day one when it is. All right, it's your responsibility as a student to keep up with that. Knowing that the exam's coming and knowing the exam is around the corner, you should be in the habit of time. Spacing your study time out so that you're not cramming the day or the night before. Preparing, a good habit to get into for test taking is to make yourself a practice test. If you're not making or taking practice tests, you're missing out. Study group. Each person creates 10 questions. Exchange your questions. take each other's quizzes. It also gives you the chance to have a discussion about what makes a good exam question and what doesn't make it a good exam question. When you start thinking like your instructor, you'll be more successful in the class. Now, what about after the exam? You took your exam. Now what do? Number one is relax for a minute, okay? I know that there's always something around the corner. There's always another test. There's always another topic, but take a second to take some deep breaths. Maybe for you, that looks like taking a walk. Maybe it looks like taking a nap. Maybe it looks like going out on a date. I don't know what that looks like for you, but do that thing that makes you happy and then reset and start again. Get back to your study routine. Get back to your habits that are building your success through the semester. Once you get your exam back, now this is going to be different from class to class and from instructor to instructor. I don't let my students keep my exams because I keep them secure, but most instructors do that, by the way. Some instructors will let you keep the exam or will at least set apart a time for you to go over the exam. I strongly encourage you to use that time. Build that into your schedule. You know when the exam is. Maybe you know when you'll be getting that exam back. Set some time aside to meet with your instructor to go over the exam if they don't do that in class. More than likely they won't. In that time, you need to do a couple of things. Number one, make sure that the instructor graded you correctly. Make sure that all the points add up. Make sure they gave you all the points you deserve. Okay, that's number one, because instructors make mistakes. I certainly do. Number two, you want to make sure you know what you got wrong for the cumulative final exam. You also want to look at why the wrong answers are wrong, as well as why the right answers are right. In other words, when you look at the multiple choice questions, when you're reviewing them, looking at and understanding the question itself. Let me see, I have a quiz here that I just gave today. Let me read you the question and I'll explain the habit that you should be in when you're examining your old exams. So this question says, the statement that there's no significant difference between the experimental groups is also known as a null hypothesis, control group, dependent variable, or hypothesis. Well, obviously the answer is null hypothesis, right? That requires you to know what a null hypothesis is, but you should also know why a control group is not the correct answer, why a dependent variable isn't the answer, why a hypothesis is not the answer. So going through line by line and examining your quizzes and your exams for not only the right answers, but also the wrong answers, and understanding why they're wrong is a really important habit to establish. Another habit you should have throughout the semester is tracking your grades. If you're not tracking your grades, how do you know if you're succeeding or failing? You should have a sheet of paper, a note on your phone, something where you record every single piece of paper that comes back with a grade on it. Not only is it for your records to keep track of your grades, this is also to make sure the instructor is putting the grades in correctly. Sometimes that happens. Instructors make mistakes. It's up to you to call them out on it. Take some time every time you get a sheet of paper back with a grade on it and put it into your phone or onto that sheet of notebook paper. This way you can easily calculate your grade at any given time. Another really important habit to be in is communicating. Communicate with your instructor and with other classmates. We've talked extensively about what it means to be an effective communicator with your professor and with other students in the class. If you're not involved in a study group, you should be. Establish a study group early on in the semester. Get in the habit of meeting once a week, even if your entire study group can't meet. If you're in a study group with 3 or 4 people and only 2 can meet, just meet with the 2 of you. It's better to talk the language of science, the language of your course, than to just say, you know what, we can't meet. Finally, get in the habit of coming to group tutoring, even if you don't need it. This is along the same lines as meeting with your study group. Group tutoring, meeting as a group, and even just listening and hearing the words over and over again, listening to other students' questions, and asking your own questions, hearing an instructor elaborate, explain, draw, and describe is really helpful. The more you hear and you practice and you repeat the language and you examine the concepts, the more it's going to stick in your head. I'm here to help you. I'm kind of like a student advocate. Ultimately, I'm here to help you succeed. My free online community is set up to help students like you master their classes, master study tools, and get the grades that you want. I hope you have a fantastic day. Join my community. I look forward to seeing you online. Bye-bye.